Hey, what's up, Def Mods guys? So I realized that the Def-Boro V2 a little bit has changed on the build, and I need to do an updated how to swap your builds out. So we're going to do that today. I have a Def-Boro V2 here going to a customer in the UK, and he ordered the extra unregulated build to go in it. So I figure this is a perfect time to do it. So if you ever want to change the builds out on your Def-Boro V2, all you're literally going to need is a 1.5 millimeter driver. That's all you need. This one tool, I've switched everything over to where all the screws use this exact same size, and I made it as simple as I possibly can. So here's the Def-Boro V2 we're going to be working on today. Go ahead and take the cover off, put the battery in so you can see that it works as it's supposed to. Light up buttons on the back. These buttons are the same size as most BMM buttons. So if you have a bunch of BMM buttons, you can take this build out, replace your buttons, and put the build back. And this video will show you how to do that too. So let's go ahead and take our battery out. Whenever you do order a Def-Boro V2, you will be getting a free ODB Def Mods Burton Design Twisted Timmy's Collab 18650 battery wrap. That was a lot to say. So you'll get one of those for free. So to start, you'll notice that there's three screws. Two screws holding this panel and one screw holding this upper panel. These are just decorative, so you don't see the inner wiring and everything. It's really not a whole lot to mess up here. Just take these out. You'll notice that these screws are black and they're countersunk screws. So these are your panel screws. They differ from your grounding screws, which we'll see here in a second. So go ahead and take your panels off. Now if you look in here, you'll see a silver screw here and a silver screw here. These are your grounding screws, and these are the screws that hold your build in. You're just going to take those two out. I like to just dump it over so I don't lose my screws. Put my screws up here out of the way, and you will need those screws to put this in. Let's go ahead and just grab it right here. What am I catching on here? Oh, you need to take your flush nut out. I don't know where my flush nut screw is, of course, but now it should just simply slide on out. You want to take your buttons out. So if you're wanting to change buttons, all you would do is take your stock ones out, put your BMM ones in, or whatever ones you have that are that same size, and you're good to go. So now we're getting ready to put the unregulated build in. So the first thing you want to do is you want to take the unregulated button that comes with your unregulated sled and put it in the screen window. Where the DNA ADC screen was is now going to be your fire button. And you want to take your panels and you just want to stick it under the enclosure to get your button to stay. Otherwise it likes to fall out. So you just want to kind of prop up your enclosure to get that button to stay just long enough to where we can get this build in. So here's the unregulated build. It's pretty much, a simple build. It's got your unregulated positive connector, and it's got a brass strip that's going to move up and down. So what you want to do is you want to pinch that brass strip where it's closed or it's down, and then you're literally just going to slide the build in around your button. Just like that. I'm going to hold it in. Now if you look, it's not touching. Push your fire button, it touches. Just like that. And then on the backhand side, if you look, where the buttons were, on the bottom of the unreg sled, there's plugs. So it plugs up all the holes now that you're not using, so you don't have these empty, ugly looking holes. To finish the build, what we're going to do is you're going to take your negative contact spring, and you're going to drop it in there. You're going to take your silver screw, you're going to put it through the eye like this, and then you're just going to screw in that that contact, just like this. Done. When you're screwing these in, don't torque the screws. You do not need to torque the screws. If you torque them, you run a risk of breaking them, and that's no good. There we go. It got out of focus on us. Now the bottom one, there is no ground on the unregulated like it is on the ADC, which you'll see in a second. So it literally is just put the screw in. Tighten it down until it's a little taut. Call it good. Make sure you do not torque that screw down because there is a brass standoff that you've seen. And if you torque that screw, you're going to snap that brass. And it's a pain in the butt to fix. And I usually charge, it hasn't happened yet, but if I'm going to charge somebody, it's probably going to be a $30, $40 fix. Because it takes about an hour. I have to get the drill press, and I have to slowly drill out the brass insert threading. And then after that, I have to get another M2 tapper, and I have to slowly get the threads out of the already milled threads. It sucks. So just save us both the headache. Don't do it. But as you see, it's firing. It's working exactly as it should. So you put your battery in now. You put your Boro in. And now you got an unregulated Boro. Um, the material is polycarbonate 3D printed. I was using the same material as the enclosures that everybody uses, this good plastic material. And the issue I was having with that is the industry standard is that it has a plus or negative, or plus or minus, excuse me, 0.4 millimeter play. So one batch you order these, they could be like, if you look at the, the panel on this, there's a little gap over here. So it could be plus or it could be minus 0.4 millimeters off. You know, that's the industry standard for the play. And when you're dealing with builds like this that are designed to come in and out, they need to be exact. I mean, they can't have plus or minus 0.4. And the reason being is if it's zero point 0.4 too big, then it's extremely tight. If it's zero point 0.4 too small, then it's loose. And it just, the best thing to do was find a good heat deflecting filament like I did with polycarbonate and use that. Um, I'm confident you're never going to melt polycarbonate with a Boro. You're just not going to. It's not going to melt if you leave it in your car like PLA. It's not going to warp like PLA. PLA is just not good material to be using for mods. It just really is not. PETG is okay. That's like the next tier up, but it's still, you're going to run into some warping problems. If you're going to be doing mod stuff, you should be using ABS at minimum, ASA, polycarbonate, or like the DNA sled, I use polycarbonate carbon fiber, and I'll show you the trick that I did with that. So to finish the unrigged build, you're literally just gonna put your two covers on, your aesthetic covers, screw them in, and you're done. But we're just not gonna do that for the sake of saving time. I'm gonna go ahead and take this out now and show you how to put your ADC back in if you want. So our two screws are out. We're gonna grab it right here on this handle we made, and you're just gonna pull it out. Just like that. Make sure not to lose your screws and don't lose your negative contact. This is a shared contact. You're going to use it on both builds. Weird screw got stuck in there. All right, so we got the negative build out of the way. Let me go ahead and get this over here all together. So whenever I pack this up to send it to the customer, then it's all there and I don't have to go around digging. All right, get the button out of the way. This is that brass standoff. And it's just brass. If you torque that screw, you will snap that brass. And ask me how I knows I've done it. Now on what's changed on the ADC builds is, like I said, now I'm using my good Prusa MK4S printer, and I'm printing the sleds and the inserts out of polycarbonate. This is actually polycarbonate carbon fiber. And most people can't use this because some carbon fiber filaments do conduct very little bit of electricity. And how I got around it is if you look down here at the positive contact, it's actually a floating contact that's made out of ASA material, which is not conductive. So if it does want to conduct, it can't. It's isolated. And so that's how I got around that. And I'm sure there's going to be somebody out there, well, you can't use polycarbonate, carbon fiber. Well, you can if you take the right steps. Like this contact is completely separated from the rest of the grounded enclosure, so it's completely safe. It's fine, no issues. Before, I had the board mounted with a screen holder, and a screen holder would hold the screen in place. And the issue I'm having with these ADC boards is they're extremely sensitive around this fire switch area. So much so that you can like literally just touch over here and it'll fire. And how I got around it, and it's actually just a better concept, is now the screen is just floating. And I'm going to show you this. Um, I haven't had any customers do it, but I've done it, building the sleds. Whenever I had it the other way around, where there was a board holder with a sled holder built into it, whenever you would go to put this in, sometimes it would be tight, and you'd crack that screen on the side over here. You know, not paying attention, it'd be a little bit tilted either way, and it would crack that screen. So how I got around it was now this is just a floating screen, and it's got a backing on it, a reinforcement backing, and I'm going to show you how this works. So you just want to slide your Boro in, your build, just like that. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to, like the unregulated, we're going to put our negative contact in up here. We're going to grab one of our silver screws, not black, silver. Put it through the eye, which helps you guide the screw down to this hole. Right there, you'll hear it fall in. Tighten it until it's a little taut and you're good. On this one, same thing. We're going to put our screw through the ring, guide it into the hole. Once you get taut, leave it. It's good. Now this does more than just hold the sleds in. This is completing ground. So if you look up here, the negative for the atomizer and the negative for the sled is ground together. And then over here, you have the screw that's completing ground over to the board through the frame, which is how we're able to do this. So now that you have that, what we want to do is we're going to put the screen in. So what you want to do is you just want to bend the ribbon cable back behind the screen a little bit, and then you're literally just going to slide this down in there. Slide it all the way down until you can't slide it anymore. And then you want to push it towards the bottom until it hits these tactile buttons, which I leave on there. Just like that. Like I said, it stays, it doesn't move. The pressure from the ribbon cable itself is keeping that screen in place. Now, when you get it shipped, there is a chance that the screen may, move a little bit in shipping from the bumping in the truck, or, some bozo throwing the mod across the distribution, separating it. And don't freak out. It's no big deal. Literally just take this panel off and position the screen. That's it. And then this also helps if you want to just clean the screen. If you accidentally get juice on the screen, just pop this panel off and then just literally pull the screen up and clean it. Put it back. To finish this all off, we're just going to put our cover back on, our Aztec cover. Same with these. Screw it until it's taut, and then you're good to go. You don't need to go cranking on it. I know how you guys like cranking. There's no need. Just like that. All done. Super clean, nice, well thought out. And I forgot to put the buttons in. So it looks like I'm taking it back apart, but I'll do that off camera before I ship. Well, there you go. All done. I hope this helped you guys, and I'm going to post this in the Facebook group and put it in the featured section to where if anybody needs it, it's there. And then I will also have a link to it on the website. But I'll catch you guys in the group. Thanks for hanging out, and see you guys later.